scriptures around the globe. How do you experience one of the way showers that we know as Jesus the Christ? Not Jesus Christ as in Christ being his last name, but Jesus the Christ, where Christ is an homage to the enlightenment that one achieves when you move into a Christed nature, Buddha nature, Krishna nature, enlightenment or self-realization. All of that is synonymous with Christ. Christ is the Greek word that stands for not only Messiah, but awakened enlightenment. And that is what we are here to do. So our forefathers and mothers of our movement said, all we care about is the basic tenet shared in all of these scriptures around the world, that truth shall set you free. Knowing that the truth we're talking about is the capital T truth, not the lowercase t truth when somebody's like, I'm speaking my truth. That is of the temporal world. Capital T truth is found as the golden thread through all of the mystical aspects of religious teachings. So interfaith means that we honor that golden thread in all of those teachings. Transdenominational means we rise above the dogmas of the denominations and we allow ourselves to experience the truth for ourselves. We're asking each and every one of you to stand in your magnificence and remember who you are as a spiritual being. There is a divine eternal light within each of us that is seeking to radiate itself into the world. And it's part of who you are. The human journey is an evolutionary journey where you're going to discover that you're not your race, your age, your gender, you're not your nationality, you're not your zip code, your area code, and you're not any diplomas or titles. You are an angel of the Most High, born in the image and likeness of God, is what you will discover if you choose to consciously participate. There's a power within you, and that power is always, it wants to emerge, it wants to rise up. And that is the law of radiance. The law of radiance is the divine idea of your life seeking to express itself. That means that you are going to, on your human experience, transform. You are going to transmute and transform the entirety of your life. Are you ready to benevolently, elegantly, brilliantly transform into who you truly are?
Yes!
That was pretty good. Yeah. We got some people who are ready, and I'm telling you, transformation is where it is at. It's the only gig in town. You're going to transform whether you want to or not. Some people do it kicking and screaming. Other people say, you know what? I'm going to have a spiritual practice that is fun, that is deliberate, that is sincere, and that has a willingness coded into it. That willingness comes with your choice. Every spiritual text around the globe has in it in one way, shape, or form that the truth shall set you free, and that we all are part of this human experience of free will and free choice. But what are you willing and choosing from? Where are you choosing from? If you become aware of how your energy body is, how your spiritual anatomy works, then it is fun. Then you get to move into serendipitous unfoldment, even under what we would call challenging times. The good and the bad, we bring spiritual magnificence to as our practice, and we allow ourselves to do as the theme of the month would indicate, curating a bold, bountiful, and beautiful life. You are the curator of your life. The curator is the one who says, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And when you think of a curator of a museum, what are they doing? They're putting their best art, which is creative expression, forward. They're allowing it to, so when anybody walks in, they're like, wow, isn't that amazing? Isn't that beautiful? That is what the curator does. And as we move into the topic of today, which is the divine countdown, 3, 2, oneness. We're moving into oneness. And there's even more to that. 3, 2, oneness, as cute as it is. But 3 refers to the three-dimensional world, things that manifest. 2 refers to duality. When you come into the three-dimensional world as a human being, you get to experience duality, which is contrast. job is to bring oneness into the three-dimensional world and bring duality back to singularity. That is your job. You might have missed that in the small print of the manual that you were handed when you were born. Before you signed up to incarnate in your human experience, they gave you brochures and they showed you where you could live and what you could do, and you signed up for your meal plan and all that stuff. And in the small print it said, make sure, if you want to have the best time ever, that you acknowledge the divine as the overall. So there's the macrocosmic divine, the God Almighty, and then there's the microcosmic as God as you, an individualized expression of brilliance, of magnificence. The whole journey, this is one big amusement park called Planet Earth, and you came here to navigate utilizing the law of transmutation to alchemize challenges, worries, doubts, hurts, anything that creates separation, which is going to create the energy of duality, and you are to bring singularity so that you may understand the experience of being in the world but not of the world. To be in the world but not of the world means you are anchoring oneness in your daily experience. That you are allowing your three-dimensional living to be governed by the absolute, to anchor that energy. You are here to bridge the gap between where you are and divine consciousness. Wherever you are in your human journey, you're going to notice that unless you're blissed out of your gourd 24/7, unless you are ceaselessly in a state of, I love you, I love you, I love you, everything is amazing, I feel outrageous in my beingness, oh my God, I know that everything is at my disposal for a curated magnificence. Unless that is you 24/7, 365 and 366 on leave here, then you have some work to do. That means you're going to uncover what is in the subconscious. The subconscious, that's where the spooky stuff is when you allow it to be spooky. We want to make sure that we bring the light and we shine it into all the little nooks and crannies. That means if you have any conditions, claustrophobia, arachnophobia, if you're feared of heights, if you're have a relationship that is discordant, or maybe you had to get rid of it because they don't get you, they don't understand, they're not kind, they're energy vampire, something of that nature. All of that's going to get cleaned up. Everything, every little nook and cranny, every little aspect of your life is going to be brought into radiance, into resplendence, into wholeness, into oneness. As we were talking about in the meditation this morning, in the meditation, most of you are familiar with your energy body. You've got your physical body, you've got your emotional body, you've got your mental body, you've got your karmic body, you've got your bliss body, you've got the chakra centers, those main chakras we were talking about in meditation, and in all of that, you even have your human DNA, of which we know there are, from a spiritual perspective, there are 6 pairs of DNA. From a human perspective, they're aware of 1 pair of DNA that governs your physical patterning, your hair color, your eye color, your gender, and all that stuff that makes up. You also have your spiritual DNA. Your spiritual DNA is the code, the divine code of you materialized. The divine code of you materialized is its perfection of all muscles, bones, fingers, toes, nose, hair, all of that. It's always, you carry that with you everywhere, as well as the ability to access the consciousness that knows the truth, capital T truth, about everything in the world. The capital T truth about how to stay in compassion. There was a Buddhist monk that was asked once upon a time in an interview, what would you say is the energy of the universe? You know, we talk about chi, prana, life force, the energy of the universe. And he thought about it for a while and he said, the energy of the universe is compassion. Compassion means, what is compassion? We're talking capital C compassion. Capital C compassion is not lowercase c compassion, where I might go, oh my God, yes, I'm not a misery loves company compassionate person. I stay in the light and hold divine strength. I understand where you are, and I hold that we are rising like the phoenix from the ashes and saying, yes, yes to your divinity, yes to your divine strength. You will rise. It's gonna happen no matter what. And as we were talking about in the meditation this morning, all the different energy centers, I'm just going to use the heart chakra, the heart center, as the one I'll focus on. But there's always the higher heart and the lower heart. The higher heart is tied to your spiritual DNA. The higher heart lives in bliss, beauty, joy, peace, love. It never wavers from that. The lower heart is associated with your trauma body, or maybe as Eckhart Tolle calls it, your pain body, or the subconscious. The lower heart, if I have been hurt, and I take the experience, what happens? This is the anatomy of how a trauma is born and stored in your DNA temple. An experience happens. You observe the experience. You have thoughts about those experiences, and then any thought that you decide to keep, you log away in the subconscious, you put it in the cellular memory, and it becomes a belief. And once it becomes a belief, it is going to operate behind the scenes very much the way a virus does on your computer. It starts to interfere with the chi, the prana, the functionality of the computer or your human expression. Years ago, I was working with a gentleman, and he grew up in a family that for the first, 10 years of his life, everything seemed relatively okay. Parents were seemingly get along. He didn't really know that behind the scenes there was a little bit of discord going on with his parents. And then at around 11 years old, his parents had a knockdown, blowout, all things are done and over experience. And the husband of that experience decided that he was going to leave his wife. There was a lot of trauma in the air. There was a lot of shaming and blaming and shooting going on in that experience. And then all of a sudden, when the husband left, the mom went into a depression. It slowly crept up on her, and the next thing you know, and they actually lived kind of a pretty fair, good life. They had a housekeeper, actually a live-in housekeeper that was there 5 days a week and helped clean up, and there was other siblings in the house, but I'm focusing on this one. This happened to be the baby of the family who was the last one left. And when the mother went into depression, all of a sudden, she started to disconnect from the world. She started to slowly disconnect from friends, slowly to disconnect, because the trauma of her experience and what she made it mean was something was wrong with her, bad with her, and it started to exacerbate some of the trauma. So she started to slip further and further into this depressive energy and tried to get some help, but it didn't really work. And this was back in the early 80s, when they didn't have as much good sense as maybe we do today with regards to medications and things of that nature. Some of the medications she was put on didn't work very well and exacerbated the depression. And then all of a sudden, she just let the house go. She let the housekeeper go, she let the house go, and the house started to turn out to be just a mess everywhere. The kitchen was filthy, the room started getting, she would just kind of wake up in the morning, barely get through the day, barely get some things done. If she had a meal, she'd just leave it where it was. And so the son was kind of the collateral damage left behind in the wake of this experience. And all of a sudden, he went from having friends over all the time to all of a sudden, he was embarrassed because it was like, what am I going to do? We don't have the housekeeper anymore, and my mom is disconnected and discontent, unbeknownst really to the father. And so this 11-year-old didn't know what to do, and so he started cleaning everything. He started looking after his mom. He started vacuuming and putting things away and cleaning the counters and making sure things so that if a friend wanted to come over, he wouldn't be embarrassed. So then you flash forward to him being as an adult man, and he started a business and started working with colleagues and things like that. But what he ended up doing was he started doing everything. He was doing everything on his own. He was kind of like, the king of all trades and made sure that he took care of everything because nobody else was going to be there. So what had happened was, from that situation as a child, thoughts came in, habits and beliefs were formed, and then those habits and beliefs in the trauma body carried forward to adulthood, And unbeknownst to him, he thought in the beginning, after college and all that stuff, that he was just a great DIY guy. He was just a great person who could take charge and get things done. And if you need it, don't worry, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I'll get in there and get it done and make sure that everything's presentable and good. That's what he ended up doing. And what ended up happening from that was he wasn't letting people be there for him or support him. You can only sustain doing it all on your own for a certain amount of time before you are going to burn out. Which is when we started seeing each other what we were doing, which was the burnout and then the withdrawal that comes from the burnout. Most people are going through life on a half tank of a charge of a battery. That's bringing an old expression into a new paradigm. Half tank of gas or a half charge on your battery. And what I'm serious is that I've actually done studies. I did a study about 15 years ago where we were measuring people where they were in their vitality, and we discovered, especially people who serve other people, they're operating on overgiving, overachieving, overdoing without receiving a lot. So my charge to you is, if you're really good at receiving, then keep up the good work and expand it. Expand it, because I used to be one of these people. I used to think I was pretty good at receiving my good until I did the inner work and started to dive down into the subconscious. Lo and behold, I found that I had some very similar characteristics as this young man who was doing everything. You can't do it all yourself. You need to then move into the higher realms as we move into from three-dimensional living to duality into the singularity of the energy field that you share with other people. There's your primary energy field, there's your secondary and tertiary energy field. And in the secondary and tertiary energy field, you're moving out of just your physical, emotional, mental, karmic body, and you're moving into how you plug into oneness. There's oneness, your oneness with the divine, and that's kind of like, so a lot of people would go into meditation, you go on the retreat, little plug for the summer retreat coming up, you want to make sure you sign up for that. You go into that website, and you have that beautiful experience. But if I have a nirvanic experience in a meditation, or maybe I've done something, I did a plant medicine thing, or maybe I just went away and sat in nature, or maybe I did a vision quest, and I had that nirvanic experience. If it doesn't integrate itself and makes resonance within your beingness, it's not going to transform. It's kind of like buying a ticket to a movie or buying a ticket to an amusement park, but then you don't go. Buying the ticket isn't enough. You have to get in and play the game. You have to enjoy it. And it all comes down to free will and free choice of all the choices that you make along the way. That's why I always say every morning on our prayer call, I heal, grow, and expand in benevolent, brilliant, elegant, divine, efficient, immediate, immaculate, glorious, joyful ways. Why do we say that? Because this gentleman grew through arduous, hard, cathartic ways. He grew up with an embedding in his subconscious. If I don't do it, there's nobody there to do it for me. Not only was there some tangential trauma with, my parents also didn't love me quite enough, because my mom didn't love me enough to rise above her depression to be there for me, and my dad didn't love me enough to transcend his frustrations, and he just bailed. Now, both of the parents, in truth, in capital T truth, and even in temporal T truth, loved their son dearly, but they weren't capable, because the energy at that particular moment was traveling through the filter of their trauma body to fulfill and see, like, well, what's it going to be like for this 11-year-old? What's his experience of this thing that's going on? Now, it doesn't matter, because whether people separate or stay together is perfectly fine. Everything in spirituality is not what is done, it's how it's done. If it's done with love and appreciation and magnificence and glory. Years ago, I had a client of mine who just blew my mind. He was just this bright light. His name happened to be Keith. And it wasn't me. But maybe there was something going on. But anyway, he had a couple children with his wife, and they decided at one point that they had reached a point where they just felt like it was time to separate. So they decided very amicably, very joyfully, they discussed it, they talked about it. I kind of feel like I'm going off on this friend, but we love each other. Should we stay together? And finally they got to the point where they were going to separate, get divorced as a matter of fact. So they had a divorce party. And they invited all these people over, and they said, this is not sad, this is not bad, this is not failure. This is us moving to another level of experience, and we will stay friends, and we will love each other till the end of time. They had a big party. It was just almost like their wedding party, except just in reverse. And they ended up being best friends still. They happened to live around the corner from me, which is why I know so much. And then next thing you know, I'm walking my dog, and there they are, double dating. They went out on it. He was pulling up to the house. She's coming out. I'm like, hey. They're like, oh, hey, this is my girlfriend. This is my boyfriend. We're going out on double. I'm like, this is the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be where you can let love and joy and wisdom and beauty and harmony transcend. Now, I get it. Sometimes there is a little trauma. Sometimes there is heartache. Sometimes there is betrayal. In the lower energy center, in the lower heart, is where you would carry that energy. We become cognizant as we move into, so we're traveling through this three-dimensional world. And what is three-dimension? Three dimensions means you have length, width, and height, so that you can actually experience tangibility of things. We know that this music stand right here is made of metal and it's got a coat of paint on it. And all of that is there's a consciousness, just like your computer screen, that is blipping in and out of space-time, saying be metal and be black and be whatever else it is. That's what's happening. Just like on your television or your computer screen, the pixels are just pixelating and they are flashing light so rapidly that it seems solid. This is flashing so rapidly that your body seems solid and real. And then the magic of life where there's solids, liquids, gases. And in the three-dimensional world, you get to experience texture. You get to experience beauty. You get to experience love and harmony and joy. But it's a choice. It's a choice you have to choose. And you're going to unchoose, and you're going to transmute anything that would keep you from a holy expression of that. You want to remember what one of the forefathers of our movement said, that the word gives form to the unformed, which ties directly to the scriptural passage in the Bible. In the beginning, which is the eternal, singularity, the absolute, oneness, in the beginning, so there's no start time in the beginning, there's just the absolute, is the Word, and then the Word is the Word of God. It is spoken from the vibration of prayer. It is spoken from the vibration of creation. And when I go to the beginning, center into and let go of the temporal world, and then I speak my word, which will allow me to transcend the lower heart, transcend the lower eye, transcend the lower solar plexus. Then I can feel the vibration, and then this is where you can experience the 3 F's. The 3 F's are force, feeling, and focus. The forces that govern the universe are happening all the time. Whether it's the law of attraction, the law of karma, the law of creation, the law of radiance, all the laws that govern the universe, the law of gravity. The law of gravity is there to make sure that everything flows deliciously for the gravitational pull that you find yourself in. Just as all the other laws work, the law of cause and effect. What goes around comes around, so what am I throwing out there that's going to come back? Some of it's going to come back and go, hey, and some of it's going to go, wah! And you're going to go, whoa! And most of those ones that come back and slap you on the tuchus are going to be the ones that you didn't know about, because they came from your subconscious. And then you're going to make the mistake of saying, oh, that just bad thing just happened, and it's your fault, and it's the economy's fault, and it's those people over there's fault, all of which is not true. You are the creator. You are the creator of your life. You get to make divine right choosing. So in the force and the forces of nature that you want to align with, of which the force that I'm going to ask you to align with the most is the emergent idea, God's idea, the divine idea of your life. In oneness, we want to know what is the divine idea in oneness with my relationship with so-and-so. What is the divine idea in oneness with this situation or circumstance? What is the divine idea in oneness of my idea of me as born in the image and likeness of God? Any area of life that you can segment out, you're going to bring into oneness. And anything that affects any area of your life affects every area of your life. So the forces of nature, the laws that govern the universe are only and always conspiring for good. There is nothing in the divine, there is nothing in capital L life that has any negative aspects. That does not exist. We know that when we read scripture and we hear passages about Satan or evil or sin, that is all referring to one key word in translation, and that is mistake. Mistake, when I deviate from truth, then I'm in duality. And that's when you're going to find yourself in the fun house of life. And sometimes the fun house can be fun, but the fun house can sometimes be haunted. And we want to make sure that we don't go up to the wavy mirror and think, oh my God, that's what I look like? Of course not. You know from your perception, oh, I'm looking into a wavy mirror. I'm not bent, or I'm not like this big. I know who I truly am. You want to know who you truly are. You want to make sure that the feeling, so the forces are there, the 3 F's, the feeling is where creation comes from in your world. How do I feel about something? Most people are feeling deprived. A, they are feeling deprived as in they don't let themselves be loved, and B, they don't understand. So this is the definition of feeling. There are energies and frequencies that are causing sensations in your beingness, and those energies and those sensations are completely and directly attached to beliefs and ideas, and that's what's creating those sensations in your body and the experience in your life. So if you follow the bouncing ball, this is what I'm feeling. This is the experience. Here's the belief, and now what would I like to do about that? That takes spiritual muscle. That means you're going to understand that in our spiritual practice, we are not working against the law of gravity like we would if we were building our biceps or doing our crunches or whatever we're doing in the gym. To build your muscles, you work with the law of gravity. To build your consciousness, you transcend worries, doubts, and fears. You transcend all of the dualistic human energies of separation, and you rise back into oneness and singularity with focus. There is the forces, there are the feelings, and then the focus. The focus comes in where it's like, here are the forces I am choosing to align today. I'm aligning only with eternal energy, only with the law of creation, which is different than the law of manifestation. Manifestation, when people were using the lower vibration of the law of attraction, they're trying to manipulate and coerce. I'm going to manifest my lover. I'm going to manifest my house. I'm going to manifest the job. I'm going to some degree, use willpower instead of divine will. Divine will means, all right, take all this and shove it off and say, what is the divine idea? I'm working with creation. What is seeking through the law of emergence to acknowledge itself and know itself as my life? I am the prize in our spiritual teaching. I am the prize means follow your North Star. That means if you have a habit that you have become very cozy with, we have those little cozy habits. A friend of mine, she was severely convinced, and if there's any smokers out there, I just want to give a disclaimer in advance. She was convinced that smoking, as a matter of fact, I used to be one many, many years ago, and I had the same experience. I thought it was relaxing. Relaxing. No, what it was an excuse to take a break. I didn't have if I didn't go out to smoke, or if I wasn't going out to have lunch, then I didn't have a reason to take a break. I couldn't go chill and be still and know that I am as thou art as I am. So I would use that, not paying attention to the cascading energy of toxins that were infiltrating my negative energy in my trauma body. I wasn't paying it. I was just using it as an excuse, and I had convinced myself that something that wasn't good for me was good for me. So if you have a habit, here's the declaration we're going to make today. If there is something that you like that is not good for you, you will let it go. And if there is something you don't like that is good for you, you're going to like it. That's what we're going to say. If there is something you do not like that would be really good, then you're going to let go of liking it, and you're going to move over to liking something that would be so good for you. It would be kind of like, oh, I really love this chocolate cake full of preservatives and sugar, and I don't like broccoli. And you're just going to switch, I love broccoli, and I no longer need and like this cake. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to shift and apply that to every area through force. The forces. Now, you can do it the hard way, which is we can go and take anger management, we can take, manipulating. Not to say that all advertising is coercive. There's everything out there, whether it's marketing or advertising, and I came from the advertising world, so I know how it works. And when I was in the advertising world, I happened to be on the side of things where we were trying to sell you the things that aren't good for you. And trying to make it look shiny and, ooh, you want this thing that's not good for you. Not us, not here. We will not be duped. We will not fall prey to dualistic interpretation. We're moving into the oneness of singularity, divine right perception, that allows you to have dominion over your life. Dominion is like, divine right seeing, divine right hearing, divine right knowing. Ooh, yes. I know exactly what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and always yield good in the win-win. So, what that means is that as you are becoming aware of the forces that govern the universe, I'm aligning with creation, the forces that govern the universe, I'm going to allow my feeling. Sometimes, you heard me share about the pilot program I did many years ago, where we studied 16 participants and how creation was working through them, how healing was working through them. And there was the one gentleman who kind of set the bar because everything he was intending, we would align with the desires of his soul. Then he would create an intention that aligned with the desire of the soul. Then, from there, we would speak our word. So we're creating the formula, the force, the feeling. You got to cultivate feeling. And then you allow your focus to say, this is what I'm bringing forward. And we're not going to waver. So he would say he'd get in the line, and then he'd get filled with a feeling. It's like, this is what I'm bringing forward. My perfect soulmate. Now there's a difference between I'm bringing forward my perfect soulmate through the filters of I'm not lovable, people betray me, marriage is not good, and bringing it forward where I'm clean. I'm allowing a marriage that is a complementary adventure where we bring out the nurturing best in everybody versus what my dad ended up doing when he divorced my mom. I am not getting married ever again because marriage is bad, evil, and wrong. So we want to make sure, because we're not going to allow a experience that created a thought to become a belief. We're going to allow ourselves to transcend that, and then we're going to allow ourselves to get effed up. To get effed up means you're going to feel the force, the feeling, and the focus within you. I know your mind went somewhere else. But the three F's is how you get effed up. Effed up on the divine, and allow yourself to go deeper than ever before, and allow that good to have its way through you. You're going to make sure that divine intelligence, as it says in, where does it say? Oh, the science of mind. Divine intelligence is going to evolve our concept exactly as you involve it. Your evolution with a divine influence is going to express itself synergistically, serendipitously, gloriously, benevolently, and beautifully to the degree that you involve it. To evolve benevolently, you got to get involved benevolently. You got to make sure that we are clearing our consciousness on a regular basis. That's why we do retreats. That's why we do classes. That's why it's not because we're trying to coerce or convince. Everything we do in the New Thought Ageless Wisdom teachings, of which our brothers and sisters at Agape International Spiritual Center, or any of the Centers of Spiritual Living, or any of the Unity, even Christian Science falls under the umbrella of New Thought Ageless Wisdom teachings. All of it is about you living from the highest, greatest, grandest vision and version of your life, and all we want to do is pull it out of you. We're going to give you everything we need to pull it out of you, because nobody can evolve for you. You're the only one who can evolve your life. And one of the pieces of evolving your life is saying, I'm going to get in the driver's seat, not from control, but of surrender and dominion. Surrender and dominion means, oh, you mean there's a better idea than what I've got in my temporal world, in this dualistic consciousness? I'm going to let that go. I'm going to say yes to something even better. And then we're going to understand what it says in Scripture, when greater is He that is in you than he who is in the world. That's becoming to understand the difference between your personality and your essence, your ego and your soul. And unlike some other teachings, where the ego is nasty and all that stuff, no. All that's happening is the ego is going to meld and merge into your soulful vibration. No matter how long it takes, whether you're taking it slow and easy, I'm a baby stepper, or whether you're just like, oh, I like to take the big steps, or you like to take the quantum leap, we'll meet you wherever you're at, and we'll encourage you. So this is my big sales pitch to you. My sales pitch to you is grow benevolently and beautifully. And all of this that I'm talking about today, you already know, because your soul already knows all of this. Your ego is just saying, wake up, let's just transform. So we're going to transmute, we're going to transform, and we're going to make sure that we know that joy and happiness is not complicated. People make things complicated. We make it complicated when I let the truth get dissuaded from my understanding or my belief. So with that being said, I'm going to invite you to think of a situation in your life right now as we go into prayer that you would like to transform. Anything at all that you would like to transform, a relationship, a situation, a circumstance. And I'm going to ask as we move into the prayer, as you hold this in your awareness, that you will let go of every definition, every thought, and every idea or belief associated with it, and allow yourself to be inspired. So hold a thought in your consciousness, whether that's something you want to create or something you want to heal, and we're going to let go of old doubt. And if you're like, oh, I don't want to do that, then maybe your request is going to be, I want to do that. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tune and turn within as we open our hearts, our bodies, our emotions, our minds, to the divine. We move into the singular, absolute oneness of God Almighty, life, capital L life, that is good. It is good and glorious. We open to this and we say, speak, Lord, thy servant heareth, which is not a small, meagerly expression. It means I am willing to hear the truth that will set me free. We open to this holy presence, the divine knowingness, and we remember the truth, that the same energy, the same intelligence that created everything, the same intelligence that created your bones, your skeletal system, your respiratory system, your lungs, your heart, the same intelligence that created an emotional body, a mental body, the same intelligence that created hands and feet, that created stars and planets, is the same intelligence that indwells within you. We align with the absolute truth. Today, we surrender as we grab onto the divine idea, anything that would keep us from our divine idea. If there is a habit, a situation, a belief, or a circumstance that does not serve our highest good, we let it go. We let it go and we open to providential truth. We open to the divine idea of pure magnificence that guides, directs, uplifts, and connects us. We allow ourselves to be enthusiasted by the holy presence, the holy mind. We will only be motivated by the truth that sets us free. We allow the Christ consciousness from within our own beingness to rise up as self-realization, Buddha consciousness, Krishna consciousness, the Atman presence, the truth. The absolute truth and sees us, and we allow ourselves to grow and expand in benevolent, harmonious ways. Oh, how good it is to know that each and every one of us has everything we need already inside, already in our genes and our cells and our spiritual DNA to thrive, to be in the world but not of the world. We choose to allow it all to be good, to allow it all to be now, retroactively and proactively, proclaiming that I am as thou art as I am, and I only entertain the absolute truth. I am free and I allow it to be. I say yes to being completely filled with the forces of creation that allow me to feel the divine impulse and allow that to come forward as focused intention. We allow it all to be good, we allow it all to be now, and we simply agree by saying, and so I let it be.
So I let it be.
And so it is.
So it is.
Amen. 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 Ashe, Aho, Maho, Shalom, Hotep, and Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, Soul Centers. Time for our conscious giving, which means tithing, which is circulating. So our ushering angels are going to come forward. And these beautiful angels with their baskets are going to circulate them around. If you would like to tithe, there's many ways to do that. You can, one of the easiest ways is if you go from your phone and you download the Tithe.ly app, TITHE.LY app. Then you can tithe anytime from your phone. You can also tithe by texting the word GIVE to area code 669-342-2157. This all goes for all of you at home, those of you here. Or, as our ushers go forward, you can go ahead and put either cash, money, checks in the baskets. Some of you are in our auto tithe program. You're welcome to put one of the blue butterflies in the basket. And you can also go to our website, soulcenteroc.com, and click on the Give button. All the different ways that you can do that. And remember, we are a 501c3 religious organization. We don't have other ways of paying our bills except for the donations, which are tax deductible. So, with that being said, ushers, thank you for going forward, and take it away, Elliot.
Take it away.
One of the greatest blessings in my life, I count all my friends. Another F word. And this is a song that I wrote in gratitude for my friends, old and new, friends like you. I've been blessed way beyond my dreaming. Feels like I'm the richest man alive. But all that ain't got no meaning without friends like you. I never get by. Friends like you make life worth living. Friends like you know how to give. Friends like you love giving and giving. Friends like you always. You were there when my heart was soaring, and you've been there when I was down. Well, that's a story that we're telling. Gonna sing about it all around town. Sing it out. Friends like you make life worth living. Friends like you know how to care.
to invite you to feel the energy of the absolute. Remember the truth that there is one power, one presence, and one source back of all life. We tap into that source, knowing God is the source of the air we breathe, the energy that circulates our blood, and only rejoices to bring forward and fulfill everything necessary for us to thrive, whether that is nurturance, resources, whether that is finances. We allow ourselves to open up to the energy of generosity, the energy of source that never withholds and always gives. And we know that that which has come forward as our offering today circulates itself and it returns, because it is not of our small finite resources that we are giving. We are giving from overflowing abundance, and we are expecting it to return to us multiplied. We allow it to be good, we bless it so, we allow it to be so individually and collectively by saying, and so it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, and that leaves the children. They're going to be here any moment. Thank you, Usher.
I'm playing.
And expand our hearts, and it's a great way to release feelings of being hurt in the past, and we can do that by feeling more love and warmth towards ourselves. Then we can really feel more love and warmth and loving kindness towards others. We can open our hearts and open our arms even wider. So we're going to do a little exercise all together. I invite you to join us. So this is called the hugging breath. So breathe in.
Open your arms, breathe in, and hug them.
And breathe out, hug yourself. And open your arms. Breathe in, hug the entire world. Then breathe out, hug yourself. So, I'll get you up again.
Rise, and the words are in your program. You want to stretch your vocal cords?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God. Loved ones only. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
We surrender into the divinity of accepting it and allowing it to